What is good, everybody? Today I have a pretty exciting video out for today, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be driving 5-6 hours away from home all the way down to Georgia, and we're going to be picking up 2 new cars. Pretty much my grandfather that passed away about a year or 2 ago, I can't exactly remember. I'm really bad with time. We were supposed to get his cars whenever he passed away, and that hasn't happened up until now. Now is the day that I can actually go finally get the cars, and well, you'll see what I'm picking up. I'm keeping one of them a secret, but I will tell you one of them because I'm going to drive with one of them home, and we're going to have to trailer the other one because the other one is a pretty special car. But the one I'm going to be driving home will be a 2011 Chrysler 200. It's nothing special. We're probably not going to end up keeping that car, because those cars are notoriously not really good cars. It has the Pentastar V6 in it, I believe, and we all know how those V6s are. So, I am recording the day prior because I do have to get up really early. I have to get up as early as 4 a.m. So it will be bright and early in the morning. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to be asleep really early, earlier than Cars and Coffee was. But I might as well go ahead and go over the cars that I currently have. One of them isn't here right now because it is getting work done to it right now. But I'll get over the cars that are here right now. Now, this isn't going to be like super in depth or anything, but just a little overview of all my cars pretty much. The first car is the first car you saw in the videos and the main car you see on all my social media. My 2005 Honda Accord Coupe. This is a CM8 model, which means it is the V6 2-door. So pretty much this car is my daily driver. I take this thing everywhere. And the miles show that. This car has 280,000 miles. I bought this car with like 210,000 miles on it, I believe. I've put so many miles into this car in the past 2.5 years. It is crazy. But I've done my fair share of modifications to this car. This is actually my most modified car I have. Obviously, it's now actually on coilovers. Previously, it was on lowering springs. It was on Megan Racing lowering springs, but my shocks decided to crap out like really bad to the point where it was a literal death trap on the highway. And so now, as you can tell by the sticker on my quarter panel window, I'm rocking some tiny coilovers. Now I haven't adjusted these coilovers yet, so my fitment isn't exactly where I want it to be. It's pretty damn close to how I want it to be, but I do want to go a little bit lower. But other than the coilovers, of course, I have some wheels. I have an exhaust done to it. It's just a muffler dually. I'm thinking about changing it here soon because it is very quiet. These cars are notoriously very quiet. Even some videos, if you ever seen these like header dumped, they're not loud at all. Like literally header dumping this car is about as loud as this car without a muffler, and this car doesn't have a muffler. So yeah, I definitely do want to change up my exhaust because it's literally just a muffler delete. I still have my resonator, still have my middle muffler, still have my 3 catalytic converters, and yeah, you can just assume how quiet this thing is. It's so quiet. It's about as loud as like a Q50 Red Sport, Q60 Red Sport. But another modification is actually the spoiler right here. This is not stock. It is an OEM style spoiler, but this car did not come with a spoiler from factory. And so this was probably my best mod I've done to this car because this spoiler really changed how this car looked. It looked so bald without the spoiler. And my last exterior mod is these headlights. No, actually my second to last, because this chrome grille is also another mod I've done. These headlights are some DNA motoring LED tube headlights. Don't get these. These suck. These LED tubes go out so quick. This is like my 4th or 5th time polishing these headlights in the past like 2 years. Yeah, these headlights are junk. Do not get these headlights. But I've also done a few small things. I've done a lot of polishing on this car. I've deleted the like little black trim here and replaced it with chrome trim. I've done some inside stuff, such as a new head unit and stuff like that. Just a whole bunch of small things that makes it a little bit of a nicer daily, while also making it look a lot nicer. Now, my next car is the car that pretty much started it all with my social media and everything. I grew up in this car. This is my 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT. When I say I grew up in this car, I mean it. I grew up in the back seat of this car. And the reason why I don't drive this car is, well, it's became a project car. This is, well, now a 26-year-old car, because this specific 3G was made in 1999. And so this one is now 26 years old. And of course, being 26 years old, it has its issues. And, well, it was a daily driver up until 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, it got into a pretty nasty wreck. And, well, it destroyed this whole suspension, the whole underside right here. I mean, you could tell where this side skirt is splitting apart. It destroyed the underneath right there. And right on this suspension, it fucked up the wheel right here. But the suspension was fine, so I haven't really rebuilt the back suspension yet. But that is something I am planning on doing, rebuilding the back suspension. I've rebuilt everything in the front suspension. The only reused component is the spindle, as you can tell by how, well, rusty the spindle is compared to, you know, the struts, lower control arms, and tie rods. But I haven't been driving this thing because I need to get it insured. That's like the only reason why I haven't driven this thing. I don't really have much money to really get all my cars insured. That's why this car is sitting too, because this car was a manual car that I wanted to daily, and this was a car that I wanted to learn manual on, and this thing was so goddamn unreliable. I just stopped driving it altogether. It's now more of a fun car that I will end up start driving again, because this is the car I do really miss driving. This car was so much fun to drive. But back onto this thing has had its fair share of issues, and, well, it was a daily driver roughly 5 years ago, and now it is just sat 95% of the time just sitting here. The biggest issues it had was, well, the wreck. And if we go up to here, this right here is an old transmission, and it is, well, out of that car. These 3G Eclipses with the V6s, notoriously horrible automatics. And, well, this is this car's, what, second transmission, I believe? Yeah, these transmissions are horrible. That was the second biggest reason why this thing has been sitting. But for now, I mainly just need to get insured. The reason why I took it off insurance and it's been sitting now ever since I replaced the transmission is because this car had an overheating problem. It just, it would not stop overheating. Like, I was bleeding the coolant system like every fucking day, and it was just constantly getting air into it. It would run fine for like 30 minutes, and then after 30 minutes went by, the coolant got so much air in it, it would start to overheat when you stopped. Once you started going, it was fine, but if you were going slow, it would overheat really, really quickly. And the last car here is my Volvo S40 with the 2.4 inline 5. And now this car is really special because this is my rarest car I have, because, well, this thing, if you don't know, is extremely rare in the States. This is indeed a USDM spec because it has the miles an hour on the speedometer instead of kilometers an hour. But what makes it rare is the 3 pedals down here and a little wheel stick. From all the research I've done, they haven't made 5-speed manual 2.4 Volvos in the States. And so if you wanted a manual 2.4 Volvo in the States, you'd have to get a dealership to custom order this shit. And, well, turns out there was probably less than 500 of these in the United States, which is pretty cool. I've been told that I'm a lot more likely to find a manual all-wheel drive T5 R design than I am to find another one of these base model manuals, which is something pretty cool, which changes my mind on selling this car, because I was trying to sell this car for the longest time. But now knowing the value of these cars, I'm probably not going to end up selling it. Alright, you can't see anything, but there's the moon from my house, my car. It is 5 a.m. I'm very tired. I want to be asleep, but I'm very excited. Gonna need that. Seems like it rained last night again for 5th day in a row. I'm ready to go pick up this car. Oh yeah. Perfect way to start the morning. Gonna leave the car here. Take this rig down to Georgia. Load the here. And I'm gonna try to drive that Chrysler home. Oh yeah. Really do recommend these green ones. I just started trying them. They're real good.
Onto I-75 South, I-85 South.
The Impala. Cannot wait to work on this. Interior isn't bad whatsoever. It is really clean interior. A little bit of a rust area, but ain't too bad. This will be a really nice project. Alright, I'm finally home, and so is the car. This right here is my new, well, to me at least, 1964 Chevrolet Impala 2-door. And, well, I got this car from my grandfather that had passed away about 2 years ago, roughly, and I'm just now getting this car. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just quickly dive into this car, show what all it has, show everything it really needs, and, well, if you can tell, it does need quite a little bit of work, especially in the paint department. Even though this paint isn't even that old, this car has been repainted at one point already, and, well, this paint is already gone, so let me go ahead and do a little walk around with this car. So the biggest thing that we can, notice so far is all this pile of crap on top of the car, kind of covering one of the windows. And, well, there's a reason for that. It is because this side does not have a window. The window is actually in the back seat back here, along with a bunch of other crap. This car, I haven't really touched it much since I've dropped it off. All I've done is I've put these hubcaps back onto the car, and I put this little trim piece on. I just put a bunch of crap on that I could put on, really quickly without having to break out any of my tools. And so I do still have these trim pieces. There's just no clips for them. So I have to get clips for those trim pieces. But once I get clips for those trim pieces, I'll put them in. But back on track, the window, or matter of fact, the whole inside of the door is just gone. There's nothing in here. It's literally just the door and the door frame. Oh, and the handle. But at least everything I need is back here. So I will be able to just rebuild this crap. And it shouldn't be too hard. I just gotta figure out how to do it. Because I was trying to look up videos on how to do all this crap. And, well, there aren't really that many videos online telling you how to fix a 1964 Impala. Which is surprising because a lot of people restore these cars. And I thought a lot more people would document restoring one. But, anyways, I figure out how to do it. On the inside here, as you can tell, it is not a Super Sport. It's just a regular 2-door Impala. It has a regular old cloth, pretty much just basically a whole couch in here. And it is comfy in here, I can tell you that. Even with it just being cloth, it is one comfy couch. I'm not going to call this a chair. It's a whole couch. But man, this thing is roomy. I can stretch my hand across the entire thing. And, well, I just love to drive this, honestly. It's just such a comfy sitting position. And the overall condition of the interior is not too bad. It's just really dirty, honestly. Really dusty, really dirty. Of course, missing door panel. The real big issues is just the sagging headliner, but it's all stitched together and crap, so I could probably just get that restitched. So just sew that back together. And yeah, it's just a bunch of peeling crap from, you know, it's sitting in the sun for a little bit of its life. Most of its life it sat underneath a carport, but of course any car is going to age if it sits outside. Now I would show under the hood, but the hood struts, well, not really struts, but whatever metal parts in the hood are kind of messed up, and so this back part kind of pops off, and I really don't want to mess with that again. So under the hood, there's also not really that many issues. It just leaks a lot of fluids and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and put this on over the window because it's starting to rain, if you can't tell. There are a few leaks I've noticed. The rear differential leaks. There's probably an oil leak. But from what I've been told, there isn't really any mechanical problems with this car. What I've been told is that this thing does run and drive. It's just doesn't have a battery. You know, you can drive it. It's not recommended to drive it right now, but it does run and drive under the hood. Not too many issues. I did take a peek. It is relatively clean for I'm not even sure how old this car is at this point, like 80, 70 years old now, which is crazy to think about. But under the hood, everything is mostly intact, just a missing battery. It still even has that little glass bottle with the fluid in it. I'm not sure what fluid it is. I think it may be windshield wiper fluid, but it still has that glass bottle, which is pretty nice. You can see some spots where I'm guessing someone has tried to maybe bring the paint back out because this part is really smooth. This part's all rough, so someone has tried to polish this thing out, and I was actually about to try to polish it. But yeah, these little splotches were the actual color of this car. No, this car is not silver. This car is indeed a really nice and light blue. But yeah, I'll go try to polish this car out eventually. It'll just definitely take a lot of work with how much paint is missing and stuff like that. I do just want to get it at least looking nice. Now, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the paint, because one part of me does want to repaint it, make it look brand new again. But another part of me kind of wants to clear coat over this, you know, have that patina look. But then again, well, it's not really a natural patina because, well, if you can tell by this paint flicking off, this was a really cheap respray from like 20 years ago. Yeah, this car was driven pretty much all of its life, and this was a really cheap respray about 20 years ago. And well, he had a tarp over it, and that tarp had basically melted to the car. And so when he pulled the tarp off, as you can tell, it pulled the paint with it on the trunk, a little bit on the sides, and on the hood. But, you know, where the tarp wasn't at, it's just been faded over a course of 20 years. So, yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the paint, but I do have two options. And honestly, I may just go with just restoring this car, just to bring it back to how my grandpa had it whenever he bought it brand new, because he was the first owner of this car. I'm technically the second owner now. I am really excited to see what it brings with me with this car, because I already know I'm going to be hard at work with this car, trying to make it look nice, fix it up, because I do want to drive this thing. I can't wait to start driving it. But that's not the only car we got. This car isn't really exciting, like, at all. It's not really an exciting car. We're probably not gonna keep it because, well, they're not really good cars. This Chrysler 200 over here was another car that we got. Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't really say much about it, because it's it's a Chrysler 200. Nobody cares about these. But, you know, this was his daily driver, brand new in 2011. Yeah, it hasn't been washed in a hot minute until, well, I drove it home. I drove it from Georgia all the way back up to Tennessee, and it only used half a tank of gas, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, this thing also has its issues. You know, there's a little bit of rust under the hood, bad clear coat, because ashamed to admit this, he used dish soap to clean this car. So yeah, the clear coat is horrible on this car. I did take it to a wash, and, you know, just had to do a quick wash. I mean, you can tell there's streaks right here. Just a little quick wash just so I can actually see out the windows, because I could not see out the windows of this thing. But this car, nothing really exciting over here. Probably a car we're not going to keep for that long. It does run and drive real nice. Honestly, I did have to say I was impressed with how it drove. It drove really smooth. But, you know, just not an exciting car. The Impala is the most exciting one. Now back to the main car for the video, the Impala. So there is going to be some things I'm going to go ahead and do. So for one, obviously, I'm going to get a new battery, because it don't have a battery in it right now. And well, that's a really important thing to have. And two, I'm going to get some oil for it. Obviously, it's a car that's been sitting for years, so it needs oil. I did check the dipstick, very black oil, and too much oil, which probably means there's condensation in the engine. So yeah, I definitely do have to spray some seafoam in the pistons, maybe, to just, you know, make sure there's not a whole lot of condensation in the engine when I go to start it up. But I'm going to go ahead, run down, go get a battery, get some motor oil for this thing, and we'll see if she starts up. All right, it's the next day. I got the battery and some 20W50 oil. I'm gonna go ahead and try to put this battery in and see if all the electronics and crap like that work. I'm definitely gonna disconnect this crap right here, because I don't want to be sucking up dirty fuel. I'm just gonna give it a few bumps, make sure the engine turns over just fine. I'm not gonna actually run it because the oil in here is very bad, probably watered down because it is overfilled. But right now, my main focus is putting this battery in and testing out the electronics. So let me go ahead and put this battery in real quick, and hopefully it don't spark like crazy, because that shit scares me. All right, it's already nighttime. I got the battery in. Let me just quickly get this out of the way. I did end up getting the battery in. I didn't change the oil yet. But good news is this car does have life. It does crank over. Cranks over really good, actually. It just won't start because the carburetor is messed up on it. The butterfly valve doesn't work on the carburetor, and so I'm using the original key. Cannot use the original key on this car because the original key got so worn down it don't fit in here anymore. Come on, there we go. But yeah, you can see everything lighting up on the dashboard. I turn my flash off. You can see all the lights work. Well, barely. Let me turn the brights off. The turn signal is broken. It don't flash. But the lights on this car do work. Most of the electrical stuff does work. Now there are some funky things going on, especially when you go to the back of the car and you notice that none of the lights, well, only one taillight is on. It doesn't seem like there's a license plate light, unless there is, and it's probably just not working. Oh, yeah, there is. It don't work. Okay. But all the lights work except dash light. Dash light it works, it's just really dim. Once again, turn signals are broken. Don't flash. They just kind of stay on. They're not supposed to do that. But this thing cranks over. It just won't start because the carburetor is messed up. It also just won't go into park. See, it goes into reverse. I can't get it to go into park. So I've just been having it in neutral with the, well, did have the parking brake on. That light's supposed to turn on whenever I have the parking brake on. There we go. Now it's on. But she has life. She was wanting to start. She just couldn't because her carburetor's messed up. So I will hopefully get a new carburetor for it. And hopefully the next video, it'll be starting, running, and hopefully driving. I'm pretty sure it does drive. It just needs a little bit of work to get started. But for now, I'm going to be trying to get this window fixed because, yeah, I'm tired of not having a window here. I'm tired of having this weird doohickey, you know, just a pile of crap on top of this car to prevent rain from getting into the car and other things I don't want in the car. But, yeah, I don't need that melting to the paint and ripping it off, you know. Don't need another fucking part 2, because this is what happened right here. This is where there's so much rust all over the top half of the car. It's because this car was under a tarp, and it was actually not too long after it got repainted. This car's been repainted before, and it was under that tarp, and the tarp had melted to the car and ripped the paint off. It ripped it off real bad on the back, but on the front, it's fine. I'm not sure if it ripped off right here, but there is a rust spot here, so that does need to be fixed. That is luckily only the fender, so, you know, if that does get bad, just replace the whole fender. That's fine. But I'm going to call this the end of the video, and hopefully next time you guys see this car, it will be running. Until anyways, peace out.